Let's fight. Let's fight. Or if you don't like the contracted version, let us fight. A very good evening to each and every one of you. And boy, oh boy, do we have a program for you. Do we have some persons for you this evening? You better tag somebody. I'm not even going to tell you too much what you got to do. You know what you got to do. Y'all are big people. We are big people. And you know when you're in the ring, folks. Ringsiders, you know when you step in the ring, what you got to do. It's good to see all of you this evening. And welcome. Hope you had a good day. I had a fairly good day. All things being equal, we have life, we have breath, we have energy, you know, and there's so much still to be thankful to God for. I had a fairly good day, and I am at work. I've signed in for work. I'm in the office, folks, and I'm ready to see whoever wants to see me this evening. I'm ready to get to work for you guys. So let's go. Welcome in the ring. Happy Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday. It's the weekend. And you know, once it's a weekend, we're off until Monday. Unless something dramatic happens. Unless perhaps they discover the boat with the dead folks without any engine that has eluded the authorities thus far. Unless something like that happens. Something dramatic. And we're going to see you guys back on Monday. But welcome in the ring. And those of you who are joining us on Twitter, guys, give us a retweet. Y'all know y'all come for the information. Don't just come and soak up the information and then you beat out. Give us a retweet. Give us a comment, bad or good, on Twitter. We'll be happy to share it at this end when the time comes. Those who are joining us on YouTube, we are reconfiguring our YouTube channel more and more so that when you go on the YouTube channel, you find exactly what you want. And so those of you who are joining us on YouTube, subscribe. Those of you who are joining us on Facebook, perhaps our favorite platform, we invite you to share, give us your comments. You know, you have a range of emojis, and lots of you don't waste any time to use them. So, guys, welcome in the ring this evening. I'm privileged to have each and every one of you. I have some very interesting guests. Guys, you in the right place. I said, put on your seatbelt, buckle up. It's Friday, and so I want to send you into the weekend on a good note, with good information, fired up, ready for Monday. So put on your seatbelts, you know, put up your foot in the chair if you're having a popcorn and some Cokes. We don't have popcorn and Coke here in Guyana. We got Cokes, popcorn and Cokes. I noticed to find some Coke today, something, some cosmetics or something. Guyanese, boy. Guyanese. You know, they probably won't find who ship it, right? But they can find the man who got the 3 grams of marijuana. They're going to find him. But the man who shipped the Coke, just like the man who shipped the 11 tons to Belgium, right? So, folks, we welcome you. I am ready to fight. I am ready to fight all of the PPP trench crappers on the page. Ready to fight you guys. Ready to fight for our country. Ready to fight for our democracy. Guys, if we don't do it, who is going to do it? If you and I don't do it, who is going to do it? Right? So as I said, strap in, put on your seatbelts. If you don't got a seatbelt because you're home, get a belt and you just lash it around the chair. Right? Folks who are joining us from London, welcome in the house. We got to now dot our I's and cross our T's. Got to make sure we use our words correctly. London is in the house. The Queen's English token came, folks. Good to see so many of you. Donna, David, and Anne, and Samuel, and Olive, and Carmelita, or you say Carmelita. Carmelita, Renee, somebody say Renee, MP Cox, Ronald Cox is up in the HISA. Shelley Lewis, good night to all of you. A very good evening to each and every one of you. Guys, we value you. We value your time. That's why I show up to work, you know. I show up to work. Sometimes I don't really feel like going to Parliament with suit and tie. But I show up to work for you guys, making sure we have the right content, the credible and valid information for you, making sure that we're up close with the personalities who matter. Up close with the personalities who matter. And when the time comes, we are ready to say good night to all, except and more times than not, you guys are in agreement with whoever we are saying good night, except that person. You are in agreement with me. And I'm so grateful for all of you guys. If you're on Twitter, I'm going to use the opportunity while we hold to reach that magic number to say to folks, you can look for me on Twitter at Sherrod Avery Duncan. We stream directly to Twitter. We are streaming directly to YouTube. It's Sherrod Duncan on YouTube as well. You can search there. If you guys are looking at this on my Facebook page, again, Sherrod Avery Duncan on Facebook, we invite you guys to like the page, whichever page you're viewing it on. We invite you to like the page, guys. And we are privileged to have you. Share. It's the price of admission, and I'm going to do nothing less than exactly that. And I sure by the time I'm finished sharing, we are going to hit that magic number, and guys, we're going to start. We are going to start. I'm so happy to have all of you in the house this evening. Each and every one of you. You mean something to us. We value you. We see value in you. And that's why we show up looking a certain way. That's why we continue to tweak our program, because we want it looking a certain way, because we represent you. And we can't come looking at anyhow, right? In 2021, irrespective of COVID, folks, we got to up our game. We got to up our game. And that's what we keep doing here in the ring, right? Because, if you come through in the same old punches, you're going to get knocked out. You're going to get knocked the hell out. So we got to up our game, and, on your own jobs, right? We invite you to up your game. Up your game. Don't settle for less than you're worth. Up your game. On your job, whatever you do, whatever you're calling, up your game. Don't settle for mediocrity. Up your game. That is my advice, each and every one of you. We're going to start in a little bit. Watching the numbers, we are slowly creeping up to where we need to be. Right? We're slowly creeping up there. Watching the numbers, folks. And thanking each and every one of you who are joining us this evening. Hope you guys had a good day. Hope you earned the pay. You didn't skylark on your work. You earned the pay. At the end of the day, you felt good. You said, yes, at the end of the month, I think I'll get back some of this money. I earned it. I earned it. And that makes all the difference in the world. All right. Even before I come on, I'm so sensitive with what we do on your behalf. I ask God to guide what I say and to make sure everything behind the scenes work well. Our technical folks do what they have to do, because we want to make sure that we have a quality program for you, Renita Andrews and Jack Allen and Anne-Marie Selby and surname Earl. Like, is it Pinchlin Earl and Tamara Isaacs, Denise Booker. We want to make sure that we have a good song program for you guys. And so we operate, I think, as professionals, so that you guys can be pleased in what we're doing here. And we take real pride. And I don't get to say too often, because we just get to fighting when we come in this ring here. Thanks to all the folks who keep me looking good out front, who keep me in the ring looking strong, keep me in the ring as a contender. And I am, again, folks, privileged that hundreds of you join us every night. I don't know why y'all keep coming back. It's bare fastness, because we're on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. It's bare fastness here. You understand me? What are they going to talk about tonight? Right? And some people, even though we ain't singing their tune, they're still coming in, even if it's abuse, to cuss down and carry on. You understand me? But we're privileged because we keep saying that in the ring, you don't have to be APNU AFC. You don't have to agree with us. You don't have to be WP. You could be PPP. You could be, Liberty and Justice. You could be Change Guyana. You could be the New Movement or whatever. Those parties still exist. That being said, the point is, stay focused, folks. Stay focused. The point is, you can come from wherever you come from, whatever your political, religious persuasion, whatever your religious persuasion. We had Ash Wednesday recently. You are welcome in the ring. You are welcome. We contend here with ideas, Faye Firth. We contend with ideas, and it is our hope that the strongest ideas in our country are the ideas that go forward. And hence we can have development in our country, because the strongest ideas, the best ideas, not no watered down, pia catfish ideas, but the best ideas, right? Ovid and Etasha and Elaine and Alexis Williams and Colin Barnwell, the best, the strong ideas. And that is why we are not afraid. Who comes in the ring? We could defend ourselves. We Hannah left and we mother belly. We could defend ourselves, right? But come strong. Come prepared. Don't come with no hogwash and water down thing. Come prepared to step in the ring and have a go at it. If you last 12 rounds, you last 12 rounds. But I am always surprised that you have the PPP trench crappos always on the string fighting them, but give them the opportunity to step in the ring and to go toe-to-toe with us. Jellyfish, even worse than catfish, spineless jellyfish. So folks, we thank you all. We are going to get started in just another minute or two. We are watching the time. We just want the best for you. We want the best for you. Diane, is it Diane? And Shamwati or Shamwati, Jack Power, Allen, and Coretta Young, and Junie. Good to see all of you there. Rachel and Sharon Mercurius and Colin Hines. You guys are valuable to us. We see value in you. And so we thank you for always joining us, always stepping in the ring. We are going to start any minute now. Any minute now, Dawn Howard Noel. Any minute now, Lisa and Denise London and Gail Alicock. I see Floyd. Did I see correctly? Let me see if Floyd Hendy. I see you there, Floyd. Good to see Floyd on the string tonight. No, Floyd is a heavyweight. All right. I got to frighten to bring Floyd in the ring, because Floyd would knock you out, you know. Floyd would knock you out. Don't play. Don't play that, we say. Don't play that at all. Floyd would knock you out, guys. Good to see all of you. And while the hundreds of you, right? Is it Jiva or Jiva and Orna, Anne-Marie? While all of you, the hundreds of you, are waiting there for us to start officially, we ask you to give us a share. Last night we had about 150 shares. Nice. All right, but if 500 of the many hundreds of you share this program, how far it's going to reach? You know how far it's going to reach Orna and Marlene Halls Crawford? You know how far this program is going to reach and how many people are going to benefit? All right, so that's what we're all about. We like to share, folks. As we get the information, we give it to you. We give it to you. Guys, you're looking so nice out there. You're looking so nice out there. In the virtual world, you're looking so great. Again, we hope you had a good day. Hope you had a great day, right? Is it Pishlin or Pashlin? Pashlin is asking us, good night, Ian Harry, who's joining us from YouTube. Some people say Ian, some people say Eon. Harry, who is joining us on YouTube, I see a comment there. Good night to you, and thanks for joining us at that end. Click subscribe as you're there. Click on that subscribe button as you're there. Right? Marcia Brown. If you're brown, stick around. Good to have you in the ring. We're going to start in just a little bit, folks. And you're not going to be disappointed. I promise you that. It's worth the wait. You ain't going to be disappointed. As a matter of fact, when we start, when we bring our guests on, you guys are going to, really want to share them. All right. So, Anesia, good night to you too. And Sandra Boston, who's joining us from Canada. My good friend, Deremy, joining us on YouTube. I see you comment there. Thank you for, joining us on Twitter. I see you there. In Twitterverse. Twitter is like my second best place. My second best place. Twitter is not the rough and tumble of Facebook, right? Facebook is the ghetto. Twitter is upper class. I like ghetto. That's why Twitter is my second best place. My second best place. So if you're on Twitter, like Duremi, you can follow me at Charity Avery Duncan on Twitter. You can follow me on my Facebook page, Charity Avery Duncan on Facebook. You're on YouTube, it's Charity Duncan. You're on Instagram, I there. You're on LinkedIn, I there. Right? I just there. No Bob Marley sing the song, they get tired to see my face. All right? Well, that's how it is. That's how it is, guys. That's how it is. Good to see each and every one of you again. Good to see each and every one of you. Guys, I'm so impressed when I see so many of you join us every evening. I can tell you from the bottom of my heart. Some people think I ain't got a heart. Some people think I don't have a heart. From the bottom of whatever is there within this white shirt, within the vest, whatever is there, from the bottom of that, bottom of my heart, I am immensely grateful that so many of you join us. We invite you to share the live stream, and we're going to start. We are going to start from the bottom of my heart. Share, and we're going to start. Let me just make sure. I think we are a go. We are a go for you guys. We are a go for you guys. All right, give me a second. We're not going to have a fight tonight, you know. This is passionate. When you get to a certain level, it's passionate. You're not fighting anymore. It's passionate. So let me make sure we have no interruption when this big fight starts. No interruptions. It's passionate, folks. All right. Whoever celebrating a birthday tonight, happy birthday to you. Somebody. Whoever celebrating that birthday, happy birthday to you. Because you're spending it in the ring, even more special. All right, folks. Are you ready to fight? I see my guest is here. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the absolute privilege of having in the ring this evening a pound for pound heavyweight. Let's welcome Mr. Mark Benschop in the ring this evening. Mark, welcome, sir.
Hey, Sharon, thank you for being in the ring. I just want to start off right away because I'm one of those fighters that I get in the ring and I'm ready to box, man. There's no time for hugging up and sweetheart deals or whatever.
Start punching. You start punching punch.
I want to talk about the catfish regime. I want to talk about the illegality. I want to talk about their undemocratic way that they are handling things in Parliament and all these different things, shutting out members of Parliament. Man, where do we start? First, where do we start? I want to throw some punches here tonight.
And Mark, I want you to throw some punches as well, because we have a lot of things that are happening here at home. First off, I want to talk about, again, you started the right place, this catfish regime, because we saw early on in September, Mike Pompeo was here, and one of the things they talked about was indeed this whole notion of getting this catfish agreement back out there. And just today, we saw some men were passed through the courts at your end Mark. So what came of this whole Pompeo visit and all this pomposity?
Well, Pompeo is history, right? He's done with. He's the kind of guy that wanted to divide Guyana. And they've attempted to do that in terms of the divisive sort of politicking and the questionable installation of the catfish regime. One of the things that we found out that Mr. Catfish, and we all know who Mr. Catfish is. I'm not going to call Irfan's name, but we all know who Mr. Catfish is, right? All he was concerned about was whether Mike Pompeo at that time was going to ask the U.S. administration to ease up the importation or the exportation of catfish. That is all that guy could ask for, catfish. Lo and behold, 3 guys, I'm sure they're supporters of the catfish regime, were caught illegally exporting catfish into the U.S. But the U.S. is not having it. Look at what Mr. Catfish caused. Look at exactly what he caused.
So what did we get out of this state visit in your estimation? Because we can't even carry catfish to the States.
Well, what they got out is a photo opportunity, and Mike Pompeo, who doesn't believe in multiculturalism, in other words, to break it down, he doesn't believe that America should be a place for colored people, whether they're black, whether they're colored people in general. He said it. He said that America basically is not a place for multiculturalism. So in answer to your question, what Mike Pompeo did was try to prop up his bid for 2024 because he wants to run for president. Everybody believes they can run for president now because unfortunately 45 hit the jackpot in 2016. And that was the only reason. The other reason, well, one of the main reasons, the other reason is to basically show that he's in control of Mr. Catfish and the other cohorts there at Freedom House. That is what it's about, nothing else. And one of the hurtful things about that visit is Mike Pompeo shut out other key elements or the key figures in our society. In other words, Mike Pompeo, along with Mr. Catfish and others, are basically saying that the majority of Guyanese do not matter. They just do not matter. So what has he gained from that? Nothing. Mr. Catfish walked away with basically zero, not out of this. He, like a little baby, and we're throwing punches here, Sharon. He, like a little baby, stood there without any shame, asking the man, one of the most powerful guys at that time, because he had the State Department, about can you talk to us and allow us to start exporting catfish? I don't know, man. Over to you, sir.
Weak. Another moment that we are still aghast by, Mark, is the Taiwan fiasco. The Taiwan fiasco, and we saw, we were probably rooting for Mr. Todd in our own way. But what do you make of this Taiwanese fiasco? One day we have an office/embassy, the next day, not so much.
Well, I feel sorry for Todd, right? And those of you who are preparing to go to church either tomorrow or Sunday, pray for Todd. I mean, I feel sorry for the guy. I know him, right? And it's unfortunate that he got tied up in the Taiwan deal, because we all know that Todd cannot make a decision just like that. We all know they tied him up. We all know that is exactly what those operatives there at the U.S. Embassy want. They want that deal with Taiwan. And the catfish regime, without studying anything, they basically put poor Todd to front, and they told Todd to run with it, make this announcement. And after what hit the fan, they jumped up and they say, oh, it was an error. And you know who I'm talking about when I say, oh, it was an error. Suddenly he comes out of wherever he was in hiding, because there has been a lot of speculations as to why he was hiding, whether he was whatever. But again, in throwing the punches, these guys jumped out of the woodwork because they had no other choice. China had them in a serious headlock. And I'm sure that China said to them, my opinion, mind you, that if you continue with this Taiwan deal, we're going to tie up all of your bank accounts that you have in China. And China basically flexed its muscles, and that was the end of the Taiwan deal. It was embarrassing, very, very embarrassing to the catfish regime. Another form of embarrassment.
Wow. And while you're on embarrassment, Mark, I don't know whether you saw a boat at your end, because it is now in international waters, a boat of dead people with no engine. I don't know if you saw it, because we learned today that the search for this boat will continue in international water outside Guyana, which means international waters. Mark, what do you make of this other national embarrassment?
You know, you speak of national embarrassment and you put that particular photograph of that particular individual on your screen, and then you now, Sherrod, I got to throw some punches at you now, man. You have the audacity to ask me, put that guy there and ask me what do I think of the boat. And unfortunately, you spelled that boat with that individual's picture with a B and not a G. But the embarrassment, you put that embarrassment there on national TV, so to speak, for the world to see. And he is that national embarrassment, because they cannot account for a boat and not a fiasco. What are we going to call it? Boat gate? You suddenly say that there is a boat and they have that boat has dead bodies and it took you over 15 hours, and then you don't know where that boat disappeared to. Then without any proper investigations, you say that that boat probably sailed all the way from Africa again, all the way from Africa, and then you don't know where it is at this point in time. Look, that's a little bit suspicious. And those guys who are running the catfish regime think that people are basically ghosts, think that people are gullible, think that all the people attended the University of IFLAT or whichever other universities, quote unquote, mysterious universities. I'm not buying that, man. The regime, the catfish regime, knows exactly what happened to that boat. They quickly jumped and said, without any thorough investigations, to say that it is not a Guyanese vessel. How do they know in a matter of 15 hours that it is not a Guyanese vessel? I don't know, but I'm glad that you put that national embarrassment of photograph. And if you can, let me just ensure that that is the national embarrassment, that you can put this photograph again for me to confirm one more time. We gotta throw some punches, man. I want to see that national embarrassment that you talk about, but there you go. Blows, a waste of time. National embarrassment. Next.
Good night to all the trench crappos on the string. Mark, I know you are. Well, I'm a little bit like you. I have never seen a protest that I didn't like, and I might have never said it to you in person, but I have watched you for a long time, since your very early days in Channel 9, and in some ways I pattern my little activism off of you.
Stop it. Sherrod, look, don't throw some low punches at me, because I'm going to throw back some hard-hitting stuff at you, man. Don't do that to me at all. You making this thing out to look as though I am so older than you. You're probably older than you, probably got to be in your 60s, man. Come on. But one of the things, though, that I appreciate the fact is that the courage people have, including yourself, to go out there, whether it's a one-man protest or whatever, to make that difference, to stand up to the catfish regime, to let the world know, to let Guyanese know, irrespective of their ethnicity, that as Laurie Alexander used to say, the late, things not regular. And that is so true. Things not regular in Guyana. A lot of corruption, a lot of oppression, a lot of persecution. And at some point in time, man, it has got to stop. One way or the other, it has got to stop. And so, but
Mark,
thanks though for what you do. And I'm glad that somebody's patterning me, because when I see you with your one-man protest here and your placard here and there, I look and I smile and I say, there goes Mark.
Thank you, sir. You talk about we talk about protests, and what did you make of this locking out of MPs from the National Assembly when you know, catfish visited?
Well, that is precisely what they do. They don't want the world to hear the truth. They don't believe in the truth. They fashion themselves on propaganda and all sorts of things. They'll make Hitler and his gang look like schoolboys, right? So one of the reasons why they shut you guys out of Parliament is because they do not want the truth to be revealed. And so it was an undemocratic move. It was a dictatorial move. But I'll tell you guys this, Sherrod. You guys made an error, right? David Patterson, the member of parliament, David Patterson, jumped that fence. But you can tell that he's not a country guy. You know, he should have been over that fence. I tell you this, all of you guys should have been over that fence and right into parliament, because what the police officer did, and those policemen and women did, was actually illegal. And you guys had every right to either one thing, just break that, have what's his name, the chief whip, have him just rip that lock. You should have ripped that lock and go right into parliament, where you guys deserve to be. No law enforcement officer had that authority to stop you guys. So you guys should have been over that fence and right there in parliament. Whether you picketed them or not, it is the right of you guys as members of parliament.
Mark, the response, a letter was sent to the Speaker of the National Assembly, and
waste of time. Waste of time. Sending a letter to the Speaker of the National, a waste of time. Did you see that guy in front of Mansour Nadir, who doesn't want to be criticized, who said that if members of parliament criticize him, that he's going to take actions against them? Well, look, Mansour Nadir, if you're watching, you know where to go, right? It's undictatorial. That letter that you guys sent to Mansour, it's a waste of time. What y'all should have done was get crayons and draw a big catfish and send it to him. A big catfish. You'll get the message by then.
Thanks, Mark. Mark, not only in recent times have we seen the prosecution of political activists, a lot of the GCOM staff, but the prosecution by this fraudulent government and illegal government seem to have turned now against Black businessmen. I know you are a businessman. You're the owner of Benchop Radio. You're on 107.1 FM, keeping hope alive. You have your own foundation. We see a number of businessmen coming in for prosecution, and I'm just going to call just a few instances of recent. We have Mr. Beresford from Caracare. You have Mr.
Archer from Caracare. Correction.
Yeah, right. A whole host of Black businessmen. Mark, what do you make of this madness by the PPP?
Well, it is the agenda of the catfish regime to ostracize persons of a particular ethnic group, and mainly so persons of African descent. They just do not like the majority. You would see the goats and the catfish types and the Uncle Tom types, so to speak, but the majority of successful Black people, Black businessmen, Black professionals, we have seen the termination of the employment of over 1,500 or close to 1,500, mainly persons of African descent. We have seen the persecution of persons out of GCOM, Mr. Lowenfield, Mr. Mingo, Ms. Myers, and the others, right? This is a direct attack on persons of African descent. As it pertains to the business community, the Black business community, every and anything this catfish regime can do to oppress them and to take away their business, that is precisely what they're doing. In the case of Mr. Archer from Sevon's Waste Management, the guy paid double the price for a piece of lot. But because of this catfish regime, they do not want this particular guy there. Maybe they have their own agenda to give it to somebody who may look like them, who they may be able to get some sort of kickbacks from. And so they have targeted this individual. What the individual should do, and I've had a conversation with him, and I'm sure that he will be taking legal matters. He has a winning case, and he can sue this catfish regime. Look, we can go on and on, but many years ago, it was Lincoln Lewis, the veteran trade unionist, who said, he coined the term economic genocide. And this is precisely what the PPP is about to do, economic genocide.
And I think that you are spot on, because our information suggests that you had other businessmen like the folks at Guyana, Bihari, and others who got land on the APNU AFC, but they seem to have not gotten the attention of the authorities currently.
And they're not going to get the attention because of their ethnicity. Look, this guy, Sevons, and others who look like him, the objective of the PPP catfish regime is to target them, get them out of business, and then at the same time prop up their individuals who look like them. That's a matter of fact. And we cannot run away from that. No justification for what they have done to Mr. Archer at Sivan's Waste Management. Absolutely no justification. There is no indication that he has done anything wrong, no illegality. In fact, in my opinion, he didn't get a sweetheart deal under the coalition at all, because he paid almost double for the land. There's no evidence of preferential treatment.
Unlike the people who get on the market value for Pradoville 1 and 2 and lots of other places.
Good. And they're not looking at that. So look, Guyanese have to stand up. And for those who are not African Guyanese, if they see these sort of atrocities and persecution meted out to persons of African descent, they have to speak out. They just have to speak out, because there's no way that we're going to have a so-called one Guyana that Mr. Catfish is talking about. I don't know what one Guyana he's talking about, Sherrod, when he is dividing his administration. His installed administration is dividing Guyana. Every day people are being fired.
Every day. Mark, recently we saw a kind of breaking of the rank in the PPP, which is rare publicly. Former President Donald Ramotar came out publicly and said that the management of the sugar industry, GuySuCo, was very, very poor. He thought they were heading in the wrong direction. They were spending too much money on nonsense. What do you make of this? Or Donald just asking for a walk?
Oh, you want me to comment, or you just want me to sleep? Because I saw you put a sleepy face up there and you're asking me to sleep. But we're in the ring. We can't sleep. Look, punches right away, all over on Donald Ramotar, some uppercuts on him. The guy is just, that statement is an opportunistic statement, because many folks will recall that when Donald Ramotar was General Secretary for the PPP, he was also a director at GuySuCo. And at that critical time, GuySuCo has been the biggest failure for the sugar industry and for sugar workers. We have had the $200 million white elephant of that Skeldon estate, all whilst Donald Ramotar was a director at GuySuCo. And lots of other things happened when Donald Ramotar was president of Guyana. So-called president, because we already know that he was a puppet there. There were GuySuCo workers, sugar workers that were striking. People were not pleased, and they wasted, I repeat, under Donald Ramotar's stewardship, and even when he was one of the directors at GuySuCo, they have wasted hundreds of millions of Guyana dollars, taxpayers, probably billions of dollars at that very GuySuCo. Now suddenly, because maybe there's something personal that he has with that incompetent individual, that square peg that they put there, a man who said that he's a what is it, a bring back kind of expert, a turnaround expert.
Yeah.
Says Narayan Singh cannot turn around GuySuCo. He just cannot turn around GuySuCo at all. You put Says Narayan to run a cake shop or a puri shop or a cook-up shop, he can't even turn that around, or even a dark food stand. So in directly answering your question, what Donald Ramotar said didn't move me at all. It just shows that maybe there's something personal between himself and Says Narayan Singh. Yes, Says Narayan Singh should go. Yes, the sugar industry is not profitable. It's a waste of billions of taxpayers' monies that is going there to basically prop up a dead industry. Meanwhile, bauxite that is more profitable, nothing is going to bauxite, nothing is going to the bauxite workers in Region 10 and other places. You don't want to guess why, right? Those bauxite workers get nothing but billions of dollars to prop up the sugar industry. Donald Ramotar, take your punches and go. I'm not buying your story.
Mark, I trust by now you may have a good sense of what was contained in budget 2021. It left many aghast, shocked, shell-shocked. What are your thoughts? Budget 2021.
Budget 2021, almost $400 billion, is basically for the boys, right? For the PPP boys, for the PPP cohorts, and for those bloodsuckers. And I have no apologies for this. I'm not painting all of the members of the private sector commission like this, because they came out, and these opportunistic individuals came out just praising the budget. Where in the budget that says anything about majority of Guyanese? It's these people who will benefit from that, and they're using this budget basically as a form of welfare for themselves, their close relatives, and their close friends. That is what it is. They jumped and they said that, oh, there's an increase of pensioners. All of the things, or most of the things that you see in the budget, they stole that from the coalition. If you check the coalition, elections manifesto, you'll see a lot of things. The PPP behaves as though no VAT on internet is anything new. Mind you, and this is for their supporters, it is the PPP who introduced that burdensome 16% VAT on the Guyanese people. And a lot of even their supporters...
And now they're coming as heroes to take the VAT off.
Yep, exactly. And when the coalition got into office, it was reduced to 14%, and there was another plan to reduce it further. So there's nothing new in that budget. It doesn't move me at all. We'll just slam that budget and knock them out the ring. It makes absolutely no sense. It's a welfare platform for those in the regime and their friends in the private sector commission.
Well said. Mark, let's circle back to Region 10, and in particular, Linden. You said that nothing is happening in the bauxite industry. As a matter of fact, on the 26th of February, I think, of January, there was an outreach to Region 10. And let me inform you what has happened since that outreach, Mark. There were members, employees of the St. John's Ambulance Brigade who were fired, data entry clerks who were fired, National Data Management Authority employees in Linden who were fired, the Linden Board of Guardians, the directors were fired, the Linden Enterprise Networks, their directors were fired. Yet the PPP say that they care. Talk to us, Mark.
The PPP obviously has something personal against Lindeners. They have something personal against the people of Region 10. In fact, as you may recall, in 2006, I believe, the PPP stole a seat from Region 10. The then Prime Minister, Mr. Samuel Hines, squatted on that seat. So they cheated the people of Region 10. They cheated the people of Guyana of that one seat. Outside of that, they don't mean anything good for Region 10. Look at what the catfish regime did. The minister, or the person who sits there as the Minister of Agriculture, went into the region, went far away from Linden, from Ituni and so forth, and handpicked a couple of their supporters and gave them about they promised them about $100 million for farmers and all of this and all of that. It's a gimmick. It makes no sense. As it pertains to the so-called outreach, it wasn't an outreach. It was basically an opportunity for them to go out there. It's kind of like a barbecue hang, because a lot of them love to eat free food at the expense of taxpayers. So they went there, all those ministers or so-called ministers and so forth, they went there to eat food, probably drink liquor, drink whatever else they have to drink, enjoy themselves, fool the people. And then when they left, they start to victimize individuals that you just mentioned about. So there is nothing positive about that so-called outreach in Region 10. Nothing proper will come out of this other than to brainwash the individuals. Just today, we see now that there's a so-called cement factory that is going there. Some Chetram, maybe a friend of Jack Dave, a friend of Irfan, they decided that he is going to go there, open a supposed 2 million industry, cement factory, where he claims that 50 persons are going to be employed. But the trick about this here is it came at a time when the Catfish announced 1,000 houses in Linden. So, which means that hundreds of millions of dollars will be going into the pocket of this individual who is close to Mr. Catfish and Jack Dare to build a cement factory. I don't know, read between the lines what's happening there. All their friends and cronies are going to get deals, whether it's land deals, whether it's business deals, and all of them are going to benefit billions of taxpayers' monies. Meanwhile, they're persecuting Guyanese of African descent, professionals, all across the board, including businessmen and so forth. It's wrong. But at some point in time, it has got to stop, even with an uppercut or whatever. It has got to stop.
I agree totally. And Mark, that is why I'm hopeful that with shows such as yours, Straight Up with Mark Bencra and other shows, that Guyanese are able to connect the dots, because you hear about this factory and you don't connect it to this housing drive that is going to be happening there, and the people who are going to be really making the money out there. So you fire 500 from Linden, but you hire 50, and you claim that you have done so much for Region 10.
You know, and 50 jobs, that cement, so-called cement factory is not going to hire 50 persons. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. And I want Lindeners and people in Region 10 to know that, because what the regime is going to do is going to give that individual a big piece of land. They're going to give them a 50-year lease, a 100-year lease. Meanwhile, in Georgetown, they're taking away lands from persons of African descent. That's what they're doing. And they're giving it to individuals who look them, who support them, and all these. So it's a deal kind of thing. We see that there's in Region 10 in Linden also, there's a sawmill factory, supposedly owned by a relative of, supposedly, mind you, owned by a relative of Jack Dale. And all these things that will be happening into Linden, Region 10 and Linden in particular, Lindeners are not going to benefit from that, because they're trying to use Lindeners, and they're going to say, okay, we have a cement factory. They're going to hire a couple of young guys to go and make blocks or to mix and turn things around for a couple dollars, and they call that job creation. Mr. Catfish promised 50,000 jobs. So this thing, 50,000 jobs, 50 jobs and all these things, he cannot live up to his promise. Yeah. It's just, this Catfish regime is like a mafia entity. They're basically there to make money and make and like bloodsuckers on the backs of ordinary, hardworking taxpayers of that country. And even if their own supporters have to see what is happening, because the folks, I was made to understand, in Lusignan, over a week, nearly 2 weeks, they haven't gotten water. But they got it back yesterday. And the people were preparing to go out there and protest in front of the Catfish, Mr. Catfish and these guys. So even their own supporters are feeling the squeeze, man.
Yeah. Mark, we have seen with this government here, this fraudulent, illegal government, a desire to go back to pre-2015. They don't like the Granger years, the good days. They want to go pre-2015. So they brought back all their old used tires, Berry and Ramsamy and you name it. They've brought back all these old used tires. Not only have they brought back that, it seems as though the garbage is coming back in the city as well. And we knew how it used to be.
Oh, yeah, we all know how it used to be. But you know, computer, there's something that's called garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you look at Office of the President now, you will see, for the most part, garbage in. So when you look around the streets, you will see the same garbage that's inside Office of the President, garbage out. In essence, these guys, and for 23 years, we saw what happened with Georgetown. It was filthy, and you know that, Sharon. It was filthy. Because 2015, you picked up your stuff and you started to clean up. You went at a particular store. I believe you credited a suit. You jumped in a suit. You started to clean up. A cleanup campaign. Others also started a cleanup campaign because the city was filthy. Unfortunately, we're beginning to see this again because this Catfish regime doesn't want to, through the central government, doesn't want to give the municipality any sort of money, 5 million or 10 million. That's what they're giving, taxpayers' money. So they're deciding how to stifle, how to punish the people of Georgetown again. Hence the reason that you're seeing a filthy street. And when residents see that filthy street, the streets with garbage and so forth, they're going to jump up and they're going to say, this mayor in doing nothing, or the people at the municipality in doing nothing. Well, they can't do anything if you have a vindictive, a spiteful, and a heartless bunch of people who are occupying the seat of the presidency, and particularly some numbskulls who are running the Ministry of Local Government. Sad to say, it is what it is. We'll see more garbage. in the streets as we see garbage at office of the president and other places.
Mark, in this second iteration of the PPP administration, you have about 6 months to look at some of these guys again, these old used tires. What do you make of some of them? We got Jagio, who is back. We got Gail. We got we got the Benchop. We got Priya. We got Ropes and Ben Nandalal. What do you make of some of these folks here? These old used tires in the second iteration. You got people like this fella, Polari Joe, as we call him, Mr. Hamilton, and Ashni Singh leave his posh job in Dubai, and you got Colin, all of these old used tires. What do you make of them this second time around?
Well, I don't make much of used tires, you know. And I wouldn't even insult used tires, because even used tires can be useful, you know. I don't know what to call those individuals, because, you know, something is wrong with the people who support those individuals, because, and I don't like calling that individual bishop, because I'm not sure whether he's qualified to be called a bishop or not. And I take insult that you call Joe, Joseph, whatever his name is, Joe or Hamilton, Polari man, because I like Polari. This is a guy who many years ago, you know, was out there selling plantain chips, and I like plantain chips too. So I prefer, you may probably call him Plantain Chips Joe, right? He was the kind of guy walking up plantain chips, chips. And these are the guys that some people believe in. I don't believe in these guys. They come around and they sit and they try to be righteous and all these sort of things. Look at Irfan. Irfan sits there, 19 fraud charges, questionable academic credentials, and all these different things. Look at the other guys there. Some of them have gotten their US visas revoked and all these different things. Look at what Edgel is doing, targeting individuals, persecuting them, and all these different things. These guys are not serious about running a country. They're not even serious about running a cake shop, because they can't probably run a cake shop. I have more respect for individuals who open dark food stand at the corners and so forth. Those individuals I would go and I would salute. But these bunch of vagabonds, political vagabonds, I don't know what to say about them.
What do you make of a man who was charged for assault? He's a convict, but he's a minister. That's the offering of the PPP to this nation.
Well, that is not just the offering. That is the IPAS. You know, it's not a serious regime, you know. It is a hustling regime. They make Al Capone and Escobar and these people look like nothing. That is their mentality. You know what I mean? To see how much blood they can suck from the taxpayers. They don't mean well. They don't have proper policies. Look at the roads, the so-called roads that they're building. Tin, 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 like this. And then they jump up and say, look, we got roads. Look, we got this. No, you don't have roads. You have a hustling scheme. You don't have proper policies. And basically you're hoodwinking and you're trying to brainwash the populace. But this is 2021? Yeah. People are not that gullible any longer. Even their own supporters are not gullible. The faster these individuals are out of office, the better for Guyana. And as long as they're out of office, guess what? All of Guyana will be able to breathe again. Despite this so-called one Guyana that Irfan is talking about, he doesn't mean it. He just doesn't mean. You talk about one Guyana, as I've said before, you talk about one Guyana, but yet in reality, they are dividing Guyana. Every single day, they're dividing Guyana. They're targeting persons of African descent, professional individuals, all sorts of things that they're doing. It is just ridiculous. And if they're allowed to get away with these sort of things, if they remain in office for another 6 months or another year, it is going to get worse if Guyanese continue to sleep, if Guyanese continue to sit down.
Mark, usually at a point in our program, we say good night to all except some individual who've been doing nonsense, who've been, saying foolishness. If you had a chance to pick such an individual, good night to all except this person, who would you pick? Looking back at the past week, maybe.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you, Sharad, for this opportunity. I'll also say good night to all of the lovely viewers or listeners throughout Guyana, around the world as well. I'd say good night to all of the good people, right? I wouldn't. I wouldn't say good night to a lot of these individuals, but it doesn't. I just don't want to call their names, man. I don't want, because if I was to
And
call their
elevate them.
names, then of course Anil is going to get upset that I didn't mention his name, right? And that I didn't say good night to Anil, right? Because they get vexed. Or I didn't say goodnight to the guy who claimed that he went to the University of Iflat and all of these different things. They're inconsequential, man. These guys got into office under questionable circumstances. They know that the bulk of rigging happened in their stronghold. And so I don't want to waste time to say goodnight to these guys, who's sitting there in office under questionable circumstances. Maybe that's why they jumped on the mountaintop and they started to scream, rig, 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 rig. But the evidence at the convention center pointed in the direction as to who really rigged the elections. And
Yeah,
look, we
yeah.
all know that. Even the majority of their supporters know that too. But I wouldn't waste my time to tell them good night, man. It's a waste of my punches.
Mark, my final question, perhaps for the evening. You have seen perhaps all sides of this struggle. Your own experience perhaps define what political struggle is in a country, in a nation. Where do you think we go from here? Is there any silver lining? I mean, I was very blessed the other day when I saw you graduating there in criminology and law. I mean, I think maybe that was a silver line. Is there a silver lining in all of this mess? Where do we go from here as a people, Mark?
Well, we have to go from here as a people to ensure that persons who are elected into office, various offices, are fighters and good boxers who could get in the ring and fight on behalf of the people, of the ordinary people. We're not seeing this from this catfish regime. We can only get better as a nation once we see individuals start to focus on real policies and not just this sort of racist agenda and all these different things that we're seeing. Look, I'll give the former administration kudos, even though they weren't perfect. But I got to give you guys kudos because under the David Granger-led administration, the coalition, we saw signs of betterment, and betterment for all Guyanese, betterment for Guyana. We saw in terms of respect returned. Respect to that country returned. We saw a massive reduction of cocaine smuggling. The drug lords seem to have gone into their holes, but now we see some of them back out. Some of them are roaming with ministers and all these different things now, right? We saw what happened with the couple tons of cocaine and
Yep.
all
Yep.
these
Yep.
things now
Yep.
we're seeing all again. Now, where do we go from here as a people? Good question. And maybe we'll pause at that. And I'll say that what the people should do is to follow some of you guys what you do, who are not afraid to speak out, who are not afraid to pick up a placard and go out there and protest. Do that. The more you do that, the more you will cripple and you will skin this catfish regime up because they do not like protest. They are going to threaten individuals. They are going to lock individuals up. They're going to have some of their cronies, phantom squad, drug lords, and all kind of things drive by and screw up the face. Don't worry with those sort of things. Just don't worry with it. The more you protest and the more people protest, this catfish regime will be weakened and will be held accountable for any sort of questionable acts in terms of if they get back into their days of assassinations and wrongful incarceration of individuals and so forth and so on. This time, in a long time, because people are not prepared to take
Right.
this at all. And this is why, Sherrod, I hope that the elections petition can be heard as quickly as possible so that Guyanese and the world can see who the real riggers are. They said that Mr. Mingo and others did some questionable things. That's their allegations. But according to the facts, according to evidence that came out at the convention center, it points in the direction that the PPP are the culprits in terms of rigging the elections with the help of their so-called partners.
Great. Mark, I want to thank you for stepping in the ring this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mark Benschop from the Benchop Foundation, from the hugely, immensely popular Straight Up with Mark Benschop, and also the owner of Benchop Radio 107.1 FM. Mark, thanks for stepping in the ring this evening.
Jared, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Look, it's been a pleasure being in this ring. It has been a fair fight, some punches thrown, and we know that those in the catfish regime have been knocked out. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. Thank you. Sure. Folks, and we have a little bit of extras for you. I want to welcome in the ring. We're going to go in a little overtime this evening. Let us welcome Mr. Gavin Matthews this evening as we say goodbye to Mark. Gavin, a very good evening. Welcome. I know you had your own thing happening with the Gavin Matthews show. It is so great to have you, Gavin. What's happening, Gavin? Start pelting punch. Overtime.
You know, I'll be honest with you. Tonight I wanted Guyanese to talk to me, right? And I think I was too how should I put it? I was too emotionally pushed tonight because I had a displeasure. Someone told me that I was what's the word he used? I was programmed. I'm saying, wow.
Programmed by who? By God.
Well, that's the only thing, because I was so fired up. Look, the discussion was so much tonight that I even told the diaspora, I even told people, Guyanese, I said when Jack Dio first came, he was so charismatic that I went and voted for him the very first time that he ran for president. Not when he was installed. I voted. I went to the polls as a young man, a young policeman. Yeah. And I voted because I figured out I'm much closer to him. I'm a presidential guy, I'm a bodyguard, I'm much closer. I know what I'm seeing.
So, you didn't expect this scallywag. You didn't expect this scallywag.
Well, one could only express themselves of what they know emotionally. You just can't fabricate this thing. You were in it, you saw it, you see what happened to young people. And then there's nothing changed. I had a friend told me he made lots of money in Barton, but I told him, I said, but at what cost? If you made all this money, but at what cost? How much did we pay for that, what you have earned as a nation? Blood run the streets. These people are criminals. Yeah. And I call the name. One is a murderer, one is a fraudster, one is another murderer. You understand? And then you got people, questionable characters who went to jail, who was charged for financial act. Brasswinton and what's his name? Ashley Singh. Yeah. That they made senior minister. These people are so disrespectful. Much you bring back criminals and put them in place of government. You expect the de facto government to run smooth? Are you serious?
The installed government.
The installed government, and they're not even installed, they're occupiers.
Usurpers.
I'm wondering what tea we drinking, because if you're drinking something different from me, tell me.
But
because I'm so fired up.
Going to say that you're programmed as long as you don't follow suit with what they're doing, because they're going to wonder how come everybody else falling in line. But these folks here,
except for me,
suddenly you're programmed. Suddenly you're programmed.
You're right. Gavin, I'm in the ring tonight fighting.
You just take over, Gavin. Folks, we're giving you some overtime this evening. We crave a couple of minutes of your attention. Gavin, had a lot happening in this country, and you can just pick any topic, and chances are the people doing some foolishness, doing some nonsense. You can just pick any topic, and you're gonna hit something.
I wanna pick a topic tonight: the vaccine that they're bringing here to give first responders.
First and foremost, Gavin, they promised to bring legislation in the National Assembly as to how the vaccine was going to roll out. Well, we're still waiting. Go ahead.
Now, I don't know, Sherrod. Maybe you can identify for me, or you can correct me. I heard it's 55% effective, and if so be the case, I don't think we should be taking those vaccines. Not you,
But that's
not
why
the
they
first
said in India
responders.
they had halted their usage and so forth, man.
And the thing is that they carry till to Barbados in a monthly. A monthly send some here. For this man, I don't know what to call him.
And this man said he ain't taking it. He said he's not a frontline worker, the Minister of Health. He said he ain't taking it. He's not a frontline worker.
They're playing with people's lives, Sherrod, and I don't think it's supposed to happen. Another topic I want to raise on your show tonight is that Guyanese are in dire straits, Sherrod. There are things that are happening in homes that Guyanese are being sent home from not working and they don't have pay.
Financially, it's dire straits.
And things are happening in home. People's family have been broken up. People are being taken advantage of. This is a serious topic.
Yeah.
You understand? This is a serious topic. And we got to raise the awareness because this is what is happening. This is the
Gavin,
level and the length.
that the budget is transformative, and so it's only a few transforming. It's only a few can afford to bring Lamborghini and the police force escorting the Lamborghini to Barbados and all that. It's only a few. It is transforming for everybody. So I understand what you mean when you say it's rough out there. It's dire. It's dire straits in some home, right? Just this morning, I was looking at some termination letter for employees. Right, 6 months in the government still firing people. Yeah, all these people as political appointees, a driver, a guard, a low-level clerk. Right, 6 months in. So I understand what you mean when you say people in dire straits. People are crying out. They only see pink slip. They ain't seeing the Granger. They ain't seeing the green slip. Just pink slip all the time.
And the thing is, and not only that, Sherrod, but you could imagine there is no provisions that are made for these people. How can you send, I'm still scratching my head because you're saying, what did Granger did in the 5 years when he was president? All the people you send home is we employ and more.
Yeah. Gavin, let me tell you something. A colleague of mine sent me a message this afternoon that a child, because my colleague is a teacher, sent a WhatsApp message to the teacher to say, and a photograph to say, look, this letter here, mommy was fired today. You understand me? Children believe in the teachers. The child WhatsApp the teacher to say, look, this thing here, mommy was fired today. Could you understand that? You understand me? People in this government here don't understand what it is to wonder where you rent, how your rent paying, how your light bill paying, how you can eat tomorrow. You understand me? When you're hiding from your landlord, they don't understand that kind of struggle. When a child sends to the teacher and says, look, the letter that they send mommy from the ministry, right? The mommy got fired today.
And you can imagine.
We're coming to a point in this country, Gavin, we're coming to a point in this country of no return.
And you can imagine this pestilence that we got for we call it forced vice president. Gonna sit down and tell people he's sure that the opposition only come into parliament feet. He guaranteed 100% sure. What kind of a message, is not the message is not surprising to me. But it is the level and the length that these people are using, Sherrod, and up to now we
didn't even come into parliament, and they're still drawing parliamentary salary and eating. They didn't even come into parliament for a long time. You understand me? We're supposed to go to parliament, right? That is what the taxpayers are paying us to go to parliament and represent them. They didn't even come into parliament, and they're still earning taxpayers' money every single month. You understand me? When Granger administration raised salaries and parliamentarians benefit, they said, they were putting aside the extras to do extra, whatever they do with it. Now they're in government. Did they put back the salaries to pre-2015?
No, they're still enjoying it.
The 50% was too much and this and that. Did they carry it back to pre-2015? These are the hypocrites we got to deal with. The hypocrites, right? The hypocrites, as you call, they're a pestilence in this nation. But God, Gavin, a pestilence to this nation, indeed.
But I want to say this to you. I applaud you greatly for the things that I've seen you do. And I must commend you for that, Sharon, because you are not only a politician or a parliamentarian. It shows me that you're willing to go the extra mile. But you showed me carefully and planningly that you're willing to stand up not only for the rights of you, but for Guyanese. And I want all those politicians, those parliamentarians who joined that protest that day at the convention center to do that constantly with you, because we need to do this. You know, Sharon, I want to say this to you. A lot of people don't like when I say certain things, but I was surprised to see that Bank CIH is a part of the Private Sector Commission, you know. And all these other companies who got large employment of the Afro community and enjoy the Afro dollars. And they're not saying anything to this de facto. Sharon, look, sometimes tonight I can't help it. I boiled up till like the pot over boiled. Because I cannot, I can't sit down and just phantom these things are happening. And
Gavin,
nobody who's enjoying
this evening is what is happening in this whole nation. We be bubbling up slowly. And people are waiting 5 years. I want you to understand that.
No,
people are waiting 5 years. All right. We bubbling, we simmering. You understand me? And lots of people, I'm telling you, every day you talk to people, I'm certain you engage them. You gotta say a whole strain. I was in a store the other day, just yesterday, shopping, and a man saying, brother, tell me something, right? We waiting for the words, a whole strain, my brother, whole strain. Whole strain. This administration think we hand left and we mother belly, you know. They don't understand.
There's a different dispensation of youth, Sharon. There's a different, and you're one of them. This is a different dispensation of youth. No youth, no Guyanese that are young within our age range is going to sit down and accept this nonsense, you know.
But Gavin, let me tell you this, and rest assured that no man is an island, the poet says. No man is an island. And I draw lots of my strength sometimes when I see you doing certain stuff, Gavin. I draw my strength when I see Mark doing certain stuff that I gotta be out there, I gotta give some more. You understand me? So it's just not miraculous courage, and you understand this. When you go there, you don't know what is going to happen, but you just can't stand idly by, because you've been programmed by a higher power. You've been programmed by a higher power to defend the innocent. You understand?
I like the one, programmed by a higher power.
The book of Proverbs says you got to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Defend the poor. You understand me? Defend the poor, the voiceless. And you just can't do anything else. It is just how you were wired, how you were programmed. I wasn't programmed by man. I was programmed by a higher power.
But you know, I even said to the college, I said, look, I don't know about 28 years. Don't tell me about 28 years. When I came out of school, it was in 1992.
Yeah.
You understand? I know about 23 years of the PPP.
Yeah.
So then nobody could tell me I walk with them, I even drink with them, I worked with them, I voted in the line for them. Well, only one time. But I can say this, Sharon, I have seen enough. You know, is it to go home and know that you know if you're going to reach home, because lots of policemen died in that time.
Yeah.
Every week you wake up, you open the papers, 2-3 policemen died within that week.
You see this story already. You see this movie already. And Gavin, you're not alone. Look on the East Coast here, the woman who had the flower shop in Monrepo in Agriculture Road. She said she voted for them. Her whole family, she carried this time around to vote. They still put her off the land. She got another piece at Pigeon Island. They put her out there too. And she said she carries her whole family. They don't care. You understand me? You know who being transformed? A few. A few. You can count them on your hand. Who experiences this transformational budget? The rest of it,
that is why I said to the diaspora, and I'm saying it on your show now, Sharon, the PPP knows that they can never win another elections in this country free and fair, because they do not have the constituency, that's one. They do not have the voters, that's two. And they know that they got to keep on rigging, because that's what they are doing all the time. The recount shows that they could never, ever, although the recount was illegal, it shows that they could never win an election.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly.
And
Never.
you know, we have lots of young people who are now cutting their political teeth, and they are too young to know that long before you had such a popular song like "Disappear," that came on the airwaves a couple of days ago, you had a song aimed at a man named Do Not Sing, and the refrain of the song was "Rig Not." Why you rigged the election 1997? You understand me? Rig not. Why you rigged the election? Right? So they see these people fretting about the place, looking a certain way, and they think there's people, as my mother would say, they think there's people, but they know there's animal. Right? Gavin, I understand how you feel, my brother. We bubbling every day. We bubbling. Right?
Yeah.
It's only God. Yeah. Only God can take this country down a different road than where it's heading.
Yeah, but Sherrod, we got to follow the promptings of God also too.
Yeah.
Because as a Christian man, you know, when I go to church, you know what my, I can't say followers, my Christian brethren tell me? They say to me, how can you serve God and do what you do from Monday to Friday? I said, I do according to the scripture. It said, render unto Caesar what is of Caesar. If Caesar give you nonsense, give you back nonsense.
Yeah. That is why I went out there to placard with you and said, Sarah, your time up, beat out.
Of course.
Rendering unto them.
Render unto God what is of God. And there's no, and I want to say this clearly.
Yeah.
No man of God sits down and accepts stupidness because God did not design you to do that. To be stupid and to accept stupidness. That is not the destination of God. It's very far different. And you're right to say that I'm programmed from a higher source. Yeah. Because it's a program right now to me right now. Gavin, I'm passionate, man.
I know that, Gavin. I know that, and it takes so you don't even gotta be passionate to recognize passion in a man like you, right? Because you are dark, Gavin, and you're looking red tonight. passion been up so much. Gavin, I want to thank you for coming on and taking us into overtime. I know you had some challenges getting here earlier, but my God, you saved the best for last. And thanks to Mark too for stepping in the ring this evening.
Yeah, I want to say thank you very much, and to your viewers for accepting me in the ring tonight, although it's a short period of time. I wish if it was any one of the three I got in the ring, I throw in the first punch, I know somebody going down.
Good.
I know they can't fight. So I want to thank you very much for allowing me on your platform and speaking to your followers and to your people in Guyanese. And we share the same sentiment because we want what is good for this country, for all Guyanese, not for only people like me and you, for all Guyanese. But we are the ones who are being marginalized and being discriminated against because since they look like me, it's PNC. And that's what is happening. You understand? So I want to say thank you very much. Thank you very much to your followers. I don't know if you want me to say something else or that is it, but I appreciate you, Sharon. I appreciate that a lot.
Have a great evening.
Yes,
folks, I told you guys we had something special for you this evening, and we hope you would have been you would have had sufficient information on this program to help you to make the right choices in the days, weeks, and months ahead. Thanks for joining, folks. See you back on Monday. Have a great weekend. God is in charge, Guyana. God is in charge, and all shall be well.